Alright, what else can we do? We can do half matty, roll, inverted, double inverted orbit. I think that was at least 2. Do a regular flip through that thing. I don't think we have a segmented roll. Those probably are together though. Oh, we're plenty past the time for a wall tap. Let's go for a Brawny.
Hello, I'm FPV Skittles, and you may know me because I created iGow and RaceGow, but I'm also an HDZero sponsored pilot, and today I have something new to show you. That is the HDZero Eco VTX and camera. And this is in a bind and fly that comes from Happymodel that's going to be out soon, so I figure I'd make a review. And the unique thing about this Eco system from HDZero is that unlike all their other previous systems, this VTX and camera does not utilize a mipi cable for their connection. Instead, it just uses 4 wires, as you can see, kind of like a more traditional analog camera. Anyway, I've got that system as well as the traditional Whoop Lite with the Whoop Lite cam, and then the Whoop Lite with the newer Nano V3 from Runcam. And we're going to compare all those Whoop options today. And I've got the other cams just to give you a comparison of weight and the other options from the cameras, but we're only going to be looking at the Whoop viable options here in this review video. Alright, so to start, we're going to do a basic overview of this bind and fly from Happymodel, and then we'll get into what I think is the more interesting part, which is the camera comparison of this new HDZero ecosystem with their previous Whoop Lite and the cam options. Anyway, so this isn't the exact bind and fly. It's all the same parts, but I've put it into a new frame and kind of done my modifications to it. But stock, it's a little over 23 grams. I should have a picture of it here. Comes in the Happymodel 65mm frame with gem fan 3-blade props. I think it's the 1219s. But the motors are Happymodel 702 28,000 kV. It's the SE 702 if you're interested. And the flight controller is a new one from Happymodel. It came with plugs on it, motor plugs, and this specific flight controller is for HD systems only. I mean, you could run an analog camera, but there's no OSD chip on board, so you wouldn't be able to get OSD with standard analog camera. So they're selling this board alone, so if you're buying that, make sure you buy the correct one, the HD one, or if you still want to run analog, you got to get the standard one that still has the OSD chip. Anyway, seems like a nice flight controller. I like how all the pads are side cuts. Basically, there's still a few inner pads that are kind of redundant, but most all the pads are side cuts, and same with all the motor connections, so that makes for a little bit easier soldering, I think, than traditional top pads, but they are still pretty close together, so if you're soldering, it's not the easiest job on this new flight controller. Anyway, and then of course on top we've got the new HDZero Eco VTX, and then the HDZero EcoCam. At first it came with a cam that I'm pretty sure they're replacing, that's on all the productions. That's going to come with this new one that I suggested that has a much wider field of view. It's very similar to like the Pinch or other Whoop cams, and I think it'll give much better experience for pilots that are used to flying Whoops that are buying this bind and fly. It's kind of got a new cam holder, and one thing to watch out for, I'm not sure if they're going to fix this or not because I don't have the production version, but my cam holder kind of squished the update, the little update plug, and I was able to bend it back enough that I could get the plug in there to do an update, but just watch out for that. The way it pushed pressure right on top of that kind of long tiny little plug there, it squished it down and broke it, probably in a crash at some point, but yeah, I noticed that. Anyway, it comes with a more traditional whip antenna, but I have this Ort Micro V because I think it's the best dipole antenna. So here's the weight portion of the video. Everyone's always asking me, what does this Biden fly weigh? So I don't have the production version yet, so I can't give you like a great answer. It was 23.6 when I got it originally in its first form. I'll put a picture of that up. Now after I've done my little modifications to it, it's like 22.7. But you could make it lighter pretty easily if you used, instead of this micro V antenna, you use the stock antenna, which is this whip. It's actually really light, only 2.4 grams for that. You could even take off the shielding here and use it like this, probably even lighter, 0.2. And then I could also do a bunch of other things like switch to plastic screws. I could take off this little carbon fiber brace that weighs 0.2. I could trim some of the frame, could take off the USB if I wanted to go like full T-Dog. Obviously you can see here this is a really long pigtail because I put the board sideways, and the way it's oriented to get the pigtail to the back, I just used some really long wires. I could probably do that better, and I could have a lighter mount for the camera. So I think if you really tried hard, you could get it down to about 20 grams. Okay, so I don't have this exact cam, which is the much wider field of view cam, to weigh, since I only have the one of them here and here, and I don't want to take it out and cut all the wires off and have to redo that. So this is the original EcoCam, and it's actually bigger because it has a longer, I don't know what you call that, distance between the lens and the cam. Anyway, so that one had a narrower field of view, so we can use that as a comparison for weights and go up from there. So the EcoCam weighs about 1.56157, and that's with the larger previous lens too. So this one is shorter. I don't know if you can tell. I'll put a picture up. I've taken it before. And so I'm guessing it's probably a little bit lighter, but not too much, maybe 1.4-ish. So that's the EcoCam. Then we go to the Whoop Lite. That's 1.71. And then the Nano V3, 2.21. So those are the main three Whoop options. So you got this one at probably about, we'll call it 1.5, and then this one at 1.7, and then the Nano V3 at 2.2. So it's only about 0.2 savings there, but you have to remember that this EcoCam uses just 4 wires, whereas these two use mipi. So that isn't that weight savings is extra on top of the 0.2 that you're already saving. So then going up from here, this is the Nano V3. So that's, you can see now we're jumping way up. That's 4.4. These aren't really Whoop cameras. Here's the Nano 90. That's the one that I use on all my 5-inch racers and anything bigger. You can see that's 5.3 grams, so 3.1 grams heavier than the Nano V3. So of course you get the 90 FPS there, which is a huge advantage. And then this is the 16:9 micro V3 from Runcam. See now that's 7.4. So this is going to be the field of view comparison. So I'm going to take all the Whoops, I'm going to put them on the edge of the table here and line them up and face them over here at the doorway. And then we're going to mark kind of the top and the bottom of the field of view, and we're going to try to compare. First I'm going to take a picture with my phone because it has the widest field of view. here's an outside camera comparison of the 3 different Whoop cameras. It's pretty nice out. You can see we've got some blue skies and the lighting's pretty good. It's not like full sunlight. The sun is gone behind the clouds over here, so it's not like a full sunlight clip, but it's pretty nice out, especially for Washington. And I think it'll serve as a pretty good comparison for a medium light situation. Alright, so now I'm down in my basement where I do the Racecow 2 stuff. So I was going to compare the cams here in kind of this totally inside light environment. So I've got one light up there, and then I've got my spotlights here lighting up the track. Alright, so we did a test here in the inside lighting of the basement, and now we're going to do an LED test. I've got a couple different types of LED gates up. We got some standard Weebleed ones, and we got the Weebleed Cube, and just the normal white LEDs. Anyway, I'm going to turn off this light here and that light up there, and then we're going to run the 3 cams in the dark with just the LEDs. Just a quick view here, you can see how dark it is here in the basement with the LEDs going. With just that light facing this way, and then there's literally like no light over here. See, it's fully dark. You see me? There's my lit by my LEDs on my radio. But yeah, so you can see how dark it is in here.
so now that you've seen the footage from all the cameras and the different lighting situations and the field of view comparisons, you can make up your own mind as to what you think of this new HDZero ecosystem. I'll give my thoughts on it now. So first, let's start with the bind and fly and its performance, since I haven't had much of an actual review of the bind and fly. Most of this video is just camera comparison, but it's pretty much a standard Whoop. The 702 28,000 kV motor is a great choice for this build, even though this is about 23 grams, and my race Whoops, which run 702 27,000 kV motors, are like 5 grams lighter in the 17 gram range. I'm only about 0.9 seconds behind my best analog time with this HDZero ecosystem. So it's great to see HDZero constantly innovating and coming out with new stuff, always making things better. And that's one of the reasons I love being HDZero pilot, being sponsored by them. When I first got this, it came with the other cam that I showed you, this one here, that are really way too narrow vertical field of view to be a Whoop cam. And I talked with Carl about it, and he got Runcam to make this cam, which is 4.3 and nice wide field of view, as you've seen, very similar to other Whoop cams. So I think this is going to be a great option. If you're trying to make really light Whoop, of course, that's going to be the way to go. And also, it's significantly cheaper than these other cameras. So don't quote me on this pricing, but I think the bundle, if they're going to sell it separately, the original bundle was $100, and I think the new one's around $65. So that's also going to translate into the bind and fly prices are going to be a lot lower than your traditional HDZero bind and fly. So lighter and cheaper are the two main qualities of the Eco. I think most other builds, you're probably going to want to go with the Nano V3. This only weighs about 0.7 more than the Eco. Well, when you factor in the mipi and stuff, it's going to be more than that. But pretty much anything that can carry the extra weight of the Nano V3 is going to be worth it for the extra image quality. This camera looks awesome. It's super sharp. The image just looks much better. The Nano V3 is just beautiful all around. So something like UWL, anything where you don't mind carrying a little bit of extra weight, you're going to want to go with the Nano V3. And then as you go up in size, your main HDZero camera is of course the Nano 90. Anything that can carry this 5.5 grams or so is absolutely worth having it. The 90 FPS, if you haven't tried it before, is just a different level of FPV, and that's why all the fastest racers in the world use the Nano 90. Anyway, yeah, that's the review of this HDZero Eco VTX and Cam. I hope it was thorough and I got all the information out to you guys. I definitely still want to put out a video with a really nice sunny day picture so we can see the optimal image quality from this Eco. So if you have any other questions or anything, put them in the comments and I'll try to answer them in the extra video I'll put out once I actually have a nice sunny day to fly. Alright everyone, happy whooping!
Get dangerous. Get dangerous.